Hello everyone, we are moving to the best topic of complete denture, which is jaw relation. I am Dr. Riddhi Lalan, and along with Dr. Amanda and Dr. Shweta, we have written the prosthodontic mind map book. So let's discuss about the jaw relation. Now I want you to understand that jaw relation is divided into three types: orientation, followed by vertical dimension, and the last being the centric relation. So when I say orientation, what comes to your mind? Basically, orientation means that it is the spatial relationship of maxilla to the hinge axis, and it is used to position the maxillary cast correctly to the articulator. Now, what is very important is it is the maxillary cast and not the mandible. We want to orient your plane to the imaginary hinge axis. Now, what is meant by hinge axis? It is nothing but the imaginary line that moves from center of rotation of one condyle to the center of rotation of another condyle. Now, if we know the relationship between the occlusal plane and the base of the skull, it will be very easy to orient mandibular cast to the maxillary cast. So, it is always necessary to understand that it is going to follow the order of orientation jaw relation. Then we do vertical jaw relation, in which we orient the mandible, and then we position them together in relation to each other, which is the centric or the horizontal jaw relation. So now what is very important here is that maxillary cast is being oriented to your articulator. Now there needs to be something to transfer, right? And this is where your Facebow comes into picture. So when we talk about Facebow, it is nothing but a caliper-like device that is used to record the relationship of maxilla and or mandible. So it's very important. This one term will make all the difference to the temporomandibular joint and orienting cast on the articulator. So it is only because of Facebow that we orient the maxilla to the skull. Now, in your routine practice, do you always use Facebow? You don't. Then what do you use to orient the plane? It is nothing but a Fox plane. So we use the plane in order to orient the entire position to the base of the skull. But now that we are talking about Facebow, let's look into the parts. So basically what you have to understand here is that U-shaped frame is nothing but the major component that is going to connect the parts. So it extends from the temporomandibular region anteriorly beyond the face. Then there will be condylar rods. So what is the condylar rod going to do? Yes, correct. It is going to locate the hinge axis, the imaginary line that passes from the center of condyle. Then there is bite fork. So bite fork is nothing but a U-shaped plate. Can you see here? That is attached to your occlusal rim. Which occlusal rim? It is definitely the maxillary occlusal rim, and it orients it to the axis that we want, the locking device. So once I have set the height, the angle, everything, what I want to do is I want to lock it. So this will lock the position and not allow it to move in either of the three planes, the sagittal plane, the horizontal plane, and the coronal plane. So this locking device plays a very important role in determining the fixed position. Then comes the orbital pointer with a clamp. So what do you think is an orbital pointer? Do you know what is an orbit? Yes, an orbital is that point that is located at the deepest part of your orbital rim. So once you have this and you have both your condyles, now I can say that for a triangle I need 3 points, correct? One anterior, two posterior. So it is going to give me a plane. So it is because of this anterior reference that I can locate my entire plane. So this was about your arbitrary Facebow. Now Facebow are of two types, okay? They are arbitrary and kinematic. Arbitrary, as the name suggests, shows a tentative position. I can just use my external auditory meatus to determine what will be the imaginary point on my condyle. But kinematic will for sure tell me that this is where your hinge axis is located. So, when I actually classify it, it can be arbitrary and kinematic. Arbitrary can further be divided into fascia and earpiece. So now, as the name suggests, these are the posterior reference point that can be changed. Earpiece, it's very easy to understand that it will be external auditory meatus that will come into picture. Fascia means something related to skin. But now it can be so much of radius that I can cover, right? So I will specify it by saying it is 13 mm anterior to external auditory meatus. Now why this point? It was because of the research that was conducted, and it was concluded that it is the fascia type that gives the closest relation to your hinge axis. According to this theory, hinge axis is located nowhere but 13 mm ahead of your external auditory meatus. So now what exactly is the significance of Facebow that you don't get to use in your undergraduation? You don't exactly know the orientation of your maxilla to the base of the skull. It is the tentative relation. But after using a Facebow, you can actually determine the perfect relationship. Then it ensures the accurate orientation of dental cusps of maxilla and the mandible. It will minimize the occlusal discrepancies. Along with it, it is going to serve as a guide which will help us establish the occlusal plane. It is the orientation of maxillary cusp that will help us to orient the occlusal plane. So hence, what are the uses? Arbitrary can be used for complete denture because even a slightest of discrepancy will be maintained or overcome by your resiliency of mucosa. But whenever we want accurate, then in cases of fixed partial denture and full mouth rehabilitation, where we already have a centric that is established, a maximum intercuspation position, MIP, which is already present, we will want a kinematic Facebow. So let's just quickly understand. Do you see this? This goes to your external auditory meatus and it's the earpiece. But here you can clearly demarcate that it's on the skin, which is 13 mm anterior to your external auditory meatus, and this is the fascia type. Now let's talk more about your anterior and posterior points, okay? Anterior reference point can change according to your articulator. Some articulator accepts the orbital. Other articulator will accept something like Nasion. So it is the lowest point on your infraorbital rim. So if you have to palpate, you have to go to a point that is most inferior or lowest. Orbital we have just talked about. Then there is orbital minus 7. Orbital minus 7 is this point and you have to go 7 mm inferior. What is it going to give us? It's going to actually help us to locate the FH plane. Apart from that, there can be ala of the nose. Now, it's very important because if you draw a line that's straight, this will help you to actually locate your cuspid eminence. So, ala of your nose also becomes one of the most important anterior reference point, and you can always extend this line and locate your canine. Then there is a point which will be located 43 mm superior to your lower lip. So, if this was your lip, 43 mm superior, okay? So, it shall be here. And it is nothing but a Denner reference plane locator. So, if it is Denner, it has to be for Denner articulator. Talking about your posterior reference point. Now, posterior is very tricky because it is all the theories that are based. The hinge axis is located 10 mm anterior, 13 mm anterior, at the external auditory meatus, various theories. So, it's nothing but this diagram that you need to learn. What you need to do is, you need to draw a line from the outer canthus of your eye to the superior most point on your external auditory meatus. Now, what is going to happen once you have this line? The first point will be Byron. The Byron's point is located 13 mm anterior to this line, and rest all the points are located. Bergstrom is located 10 mm anterior. Can you see this? Then Geisy is located 13 mm ahead. So it's here. Snow is located 11 mm ahead. Dinar is located 12 mm anterior. So you can just remember this by B, S, D, G. So let's remember this by a mnemonic which says be soft, do good. Wherein B stands for Bergstrom, S stands for snow, D stands for dinar, and G stands for Geisy. And you just write 10, 11, 12 and 13. All of these points are 5 mm below that line and 10, 11, 12, 13 mm anterior. Bayron is something that you would have to remember, lies on the line, and it is how many mm anterior? Can you quickly tell me? Yes, it is 10 mm anterior to the outer canthus of your eye, to the superior border of your tragus. So this was all about your reference point. Now let's see what is the flashcard. During recording of orientation jaw relation, incorrect positioning of anterior reference point in the Facebow transfer will result in error in recording centric. Centric is not related to your anterior line. Alteration in sagittal condylar inclination. No, it will not be related to your condylar inclination. Incorrect inclination of occlusal plane. Now I know it's maxilla to the skull. So this may be right. Let's see the last one. Loss of vertical dimension. It does not matter. Anterior point. So it is definitely C that comes into picture. Then let's talk about the flashcard. Why is orientation jaw relation recorded only for maxillary arch and not for mandibular? Can you tell me? Because as we know, it is the orientation jaw relation that will help us to establish the spatial relationship between maxilla to hinge axis. And mandible is subsequently going to be related to maxilla. But when? During the centric jaw relation. So it is understood that we just have to orient the maxillary cast and mandible follows afterwards. So if you enjoyed this and if at all you're confused about whatever, which books to refer, you need any expert guidance, this is the WhatsApp number. You can contact this number and the experts will be there to guide you. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And now let's discuss vertical jaw relation. Continue the video.